If I had a nickel for every time I ranked a show with 5 words in its title, 6 episodes per season, and mentally deranged plots with clinically insane characters, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it's happened twice. And I honestly thought it would never happen twice. After ranking every episode of the Don't Hug Me I'm Scared series, I didn't really have anything in particular that I wanted to rank. Every show I did want to rank had already been covered, or it was just way too long. It's also been hard with the rise of more story-driven shows that can have up to multi-hour long episodes. Now, that's not to say that I don't like story-driven shows. I think they're great. It's something that you can get really invested into and think about all the ideas that it presents. But at the same time, it feels that every show that's out now or is coming out is a whole multi-hour long episode sort of deal, which, like I said before, I like, but it can also get pretty exhausting. And luckily, I found a show that fit all of these needs. Tim Robinson's I Think You Should Leave. I Think You Should Leave released in 2019 and is currently on its 2nd season with a 3rd one on the way. It was created by, well, Tim Robinson and Zach Kanan. When I first watched the show, it reminded me a lot about Vine, but funny. If you don't remember, Vine was an app, just like YouTube, where people would post memes and skits just for the fun of it. Now, I'm not really a huge fan of Vine, mainly because it released a bunch of demon spawns onto the internet, but it's gone now, so I don't really care. Going back to I Think You Should Leave, each episode has about 3 to 4 different skits within it, cycling back and forth between them. The series is completely episodic without any reoccurring characters, environments, or anything of that sort. As I stated prior, there are 2 seasons with 6 episodes each, and also a 3rd one along the way, so part 2. And with that out of the way, let's get to ranking every episode of I Think You Should Leave.
Oh, baby, 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 baby.
In last place is Season 2's Episode 4, Everyone Just Needs to Be More in the Moment. Basically, a guy makes a joke about his wife and feels bad about it. A guy at a trip tries to make the mood feel better by dancing but ends up making it feel worse. And finally, Calico Pants. Now, despite this being the lowest ranked episode, I don't think it's inherently bad. For example, when Tim Robinson's dancing, the dog completely loses its shit. And I also like some of the gags implemented into the first skit, with the guy not being able to say his line fast enough and the other guy getting to it first.
I'll slap your freaking head around, you jabroni. Now give me some fazool, I'm hungry.
I'm no jabroni, and my uncle is gonna shoot your head off.
Don't you talk to me like that. I got about 15. Grab the keys.
Grab the keys and get the freaking truck, you jabroni! I'll stop you, jabroni!
I also like the unique style that this show brings. You'll see more of it as we rank the other episodes. But as far as good things, that's kind of where it ends. None of the jokes really made me laugh, just kind of made me smile. And also the thing that brings this episode down so much is the Calico Pants segment. Basically, this deals with guys accidentally peeing on themselves a little bit when they're using the urinal, which isn't really super hilarious to begin with, but then they go all in on it and make this whole website where these pants look like a guy peed on them a little bit just to make them a fashion sense. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's not super hilarious to begin with, but what makes it so much worse is that it goes on for over 8 minutes. This skit takes up more than half of the entire episode. And these episodes are only around 16 to 17 minutes. Basically, what I'm saying is that this segment felt like it lasted forever. It would have been okay if it was like a 3-minute skit, but when it's 8 minutes, that's just way too long. They're trying to expand on the joke, with the new joke being of how ridiculous this is and how long it's been going on for, which is not really my cup of tea. It wasn't awful, but it wasn't great either. I think it deserves a 6 out of 10. Coming in 11th place is Season 1, Episode 2's Thanks for Thinking They're Cool. And the skits go as follows. A t-shirt is made so that you can tug on it easily, a smart way to ditch one's toupee, a prank doesn't go well, and an airline passenger becomes extremely aggressive. Some good things about the episode consist of the diversity of sets. The toupee skit was creative and pretty funny, and the prank gone too far made me laugh a little bit. And here are the negatives. The other skits in the episode feel too random, and not like random funny, just random what the hell is going on. I mean, like the motorcycle skit was barely cohesive. Don't know what the fuck happened there. And the whole Top Truckers thing wasn't extremely funny to begin with. It was kind of funny to think about. And overall, the whole episode felt kind of stale. Like there wasn't that much substance beneath the surface. Overall, it was a pretty mediocre episode, and I think that it should get a 6.5 out of 10. Coming in at the number 10 spot is Season 2, Episode 6's I Need a Wet Paper Towel. And the wacky hijinks that ensue in this episode are a mistaken identity at work, the new Tammy Craps doll, some interesting instructional videos during a driver's ed class, and an attempted ear piercing. I like the driver's ed class segment with all the questions coming in and the teacher just being sick of it. I also like the stolen identity segment.
I fucked up. That's what happened. I fucked up.
Well, it's really pretty simple. Every time you would get up from your desk, I would call Rodney. He'd come here and do his business. He lives really close to here in like a little shithole.
I mainly like it because this guy says what I'm always thinking when I'm ranking these episodes.
I guess I'm just a little confused.
I also like it when the people in the boardroom are having fun when the boss is out. And of course, Tim Robinson goes too far and flips the fucking table. I mean, we all know someone like that. The old guy in the ear piercing video.
They showed me how to clean my ears so they didn't get infected. And they gave me an ice pack to help with the swelling.
Life's a fucking funny thing. You know, if it's true that when you die, you get to go back through your life and relive all the moments for eternity, then I want some moments in there where I'm just dying laughing. I fake laugh every day for 10 minutes so that when I die and relive life's little moments, all I see is happy times. Ain't that the fucking saddest thing you ever heard?
So overall, it was a pretty standard episode. I mean, as standard as these episodes can get, but it also did have its own flair to it. So with that being said, I think it should get a 7 out of 10. Now, as we get lower into the top 10s, it's going to get a lot harder because all of these episodes are pretty good. They all at least had 1 or 2 segments that made me laugh. So this is going to be a challenge. Coming in 9th place is Season 2's Episode 2, They Have a Cake Shop There, Susan, where the cake just looks stunning. What a mouthful. As you can tell, the majority of the lower ranked episodes are from Season 2. I guess they just weren't as good as Season 1's. So basically in this episode, there's an office dispute over shirt patterns, a little lie about the ice cream store escalates quickly, hey, that's Bob Odenkirk, and a man suspects a baby is aware of his checkered past. One thing I forgot to mention is that there's actually a segment at the beginning of the episode that kind of replicates Shark Tank. Pretty funny. I also forgot to mention this, but there's actually been ads in between the skits in each episode. It didn't really feel necessary to include them, but some of them are actually pretty funny, and I think they do a good job at world building in whatever f***ed up universe this is. The office scene about shirt patterns is pretty funny.
Sir, you're gonna love this. I found this badass store called Dan Flash's. That's my exact style. Dan Flash has got a new shirt in today that's $450.
Yeah, you've been screaming all the time.
I screamed once.
You screamed a ton.
Shut the fuck up, dog, you fucking skunk!
You shut the fuck up, Mike. I'll kill you.
As I think it does a good job at making fun of people who justify buying ugly ass clothing, although that series of tubes shirt looks pretty fire. They also bring up the shirt company mentioned later in the episode, Dan Flashers. So I guess there is some continuity in this show. The Bob Odenkirk segment is fine, it goes on for a little too long, but it's whatever. And the final segment should probably win an award for one of the most what the fuck moments in this show, especially the ending.
It's a dangerous night. The night is it's the last.
How does the baby know about people's past just from being held? I don't know. How is the baby still alive in the flashback from years prior despite only being like 1 or 2? Don't know. Why are they pouring water on his steak? Do you want me to sound like a broken record? So overall, not a bad episode. It was actually pretty good. There weren't any segments that really went overboard or just lasted too long. It was all balanced pretty well. And due to this good balance, I think this episode should get an 8.5 out of 10. Coming in at the number 8 spot is Season 1's Episode 6, We Used to Watch This at My Old Work. Basically, a new breed of horse is made so that men don't feel emasculated, an extremely problematic game show mascot, the planning phase for a baby shower gets heated instantly, and an intervention is held in one of the most batshit insane places you'll probably ever see. The episode opens with this Jim Davis looking dude banging on a window trying to break in.
Come out, I want my treasure chest.
The horse segment is actually pretty funny, even though I feel really bad for the horses.
Tragically, he passed early this year.
Killed himself.
He jumped off a cliff.
The mascot segment is my favorite segment of the whole episode.
Chunky, tell him to stop! Don't break his laptop. That's expensive.
Thank you.
No! I just say!
You gotta pay for that.
I don't!
I was just trying to...
Don't talk! The mouth on the... Don't come over by me! Stay over there!
Well, don't throw away the...
Don't talk!
That's a good idea. Dump it.
And a quick fun fact, this is actually the longest episode of the series, coming in at 18 minutes. So do what you will with that information. The only thing I can say that brings it down a little bit is at the end of the baby showering segment, it just goes on for way too long.
Where would it be? Nobody wants 1,000 plastic meatballs. They don't even look real. They look like little pieces of shit.
But overall, it's a good episode, and I think it should get an 8.8 out of 10. In 7th place, we have Season 1's Episode 4, Oh Crap, a bunch more bad stuff just happened. In this episode, a service dog gets a little too friendly, Ebenezer Scrooge and the ghost of way future, and a man takes a bumper sticker way too literally. By that I mean, some lady's service dog humps an unconscious man, a cyborg comes through a portal and talks to Ebenezer Scrooge, and a Redditor just lives their daily life. I will say, the Scrooge one's pretty insane, even by this show's standards, the standards that it doesn't have. What I find most interesting in this episode is that in the bumper sticker segment, that's probably the first time in this series where Tim Robinson wasn't the aggressor. So in conclusion, it was a pretty solid episode, which leads me to give it an 8.9 out of 10. Why don't you just say 9 out of 10? Shut the hell up, it's gotta be intense. Coming in 6th place is Season 1's Episode 3, It's the Cigars You Smoke That Are Gonna Give You Cancer. In this episode, a Marshall Rift opens a magic show, interesting ideas at a brainstorm session for a car design,
That you suck.
That's true. You flinch from the bottle, Paul.
Who is the most popular now?
Paul, you have to marry your mother-in-law if you flinched at the bottle.
a fill-in organist at a funeral,
So we have a replacement organist for the day. And I'm now seeing that he brought his own much larger organ.
My condolences.
and a charades player that chooses people that no one else knows exist. There's also this whole laser spine surgery advertisement that goes completely off the rails.
I'm back to helping out around the house again.
I can finally lift my son over my head again.
I can lift my son over my head again, and there ain't shit he can do about it. Come here, you little fuck!
I can spin my wife again.
I can play with my dog again.
I can finally fight my wife's new husband, Danny Krause.
Call laser spine specialists.
I think every segment is done well, especially in the humor aspect. Also, why is Tim Robinson dressed like Walter White? Anyways, I enjoyed this episode, it was well done, and I think that deserves a 9 out of 10. In the number 5 spot is Season 1's Episode 5, I'm Wearing One of Their Belts Right Now. Who gets paid to make these titles? Before I go into what the episode's about, I kinda wanna bring up the transitions between these segments. They're normally these colorful transitions with this music in the background. I don't know what it's called, but it's kind of cool and gives the show its own personality. Anyways, back to the episode. A hot dog shaped car crashes into a nice clothing store.
Someone drove a hot dog shaped car through the window.
Yeah, come on! Whoever did this, just confess. We promise we won't be mad. And you all never bothered to learn my name. I mean, we don't even look at porn on our computer anymore. We look at it on our phone? Pornhub, Xtube. I know these names better than I know my own grandmother.
Let's get him.
Yeah, right, you piece of dog shit! You're fucking dog shit!
A coworker catches onto an expression. These two guys try to make a song on the spot, but the other one's fumbling.
It's originals you want? He rode into town on a jet black mare, spat and hitched her to a tree. He made his way to the town saloon the day Robert Palin's murdered me.
It was also the night that the skeletons came to life.
And a tardiness excuse goes completely out of control. Every ad and segment in this episode are pretty good. They each bring their own comedic style to the table, and I think that's great. The only segment I'm not a huge fan of is the coworker catching onto an expression. I mean, it's fine. I think the segment of the guy choking on the steak purposely so he doesn't get attention is really well done, and I think a pretty reasonable rating is a 9 out of 10. Alright, now we're down to the last 4. This is going to be really hard because I like all these episodes pretty equally. I think they're great and they're hilarious. But if I did have to choose a number 4 spot, I think that it would go to Season 2's Episode 1, They Said That to Me at a Dinner. In this episode, a boss forgets about lunch, so one of the employees eats their lunch in the meeting.
Suck it up! Don't pinch the end! He's trying to choke me! He's trying to kill me!
A prank completely falls apart and the pranker just gives up on life. The little buff boys competition and a guest at a ghost tour goes a little too far. The employee having to eat his lunch during the meeting goes completely over the top and it's great. This guy tries to prank people as an old man, kind of like Jackass, in his shitty costume, and immediately gets depressed and just gives up on the whole thing, including his life.
I don't want to be around anymore.
Like you don't want to live anymore?
I don't know.
Then there's the little buff boys competition, which succeeds at making everyone uncomfortable. And then there's the haunted house segment, which is probably one of my favorite segments of this entire series.
Oh yeah, do they ever just like fucking run around nude and you see like one of their big old fucking hairy nuts?
Hey, can I talk to you for a second, please?
I just asked if they're ever falling out of this.
Close the hell up! Stop trying to be funny. This is the worst day I've had on this job. If you want to stay on this tour, shut the hell up. Does anybody have any questions?
Not trying to be funny, not trying to get a laugh. I don't want anybody to have the worst day at their job. Do any of these fuckers ever blast out of the wall and have like a huge shot?
Coffin Flop on Corncob TV was pretty good.
Coffin Flop. They want to drop Corncob TV because we showed over 400 naked dead bodies on our show Coffin Flop. If you love Corncob TV shows, it's time to tell Spectrum, no. They're saying Coffin Flop's not a show. It's just hours and hours of footage of real people falling out of coffins at funerals.
And I don't really have any negatives to say about this episode. And with that, I'll give it a 9.4 out of 10. In third place with the bronze medal is Season 2's Episode 3. You sure about that? You sure about that? So basically, if you haven't noticed already, every title is just what's said in one of the segments in the episode. In this episode, a professor really regrets his dinner order. The Carver hot dog wait a minute, that's the same guy from the other episode. So I guess there is some continuity in this show. I don't know why I mentioned it, I just found it interesting. Yeah, anyways, the guy who had the hot dog in his mouth makes an invention to get it out. A guy's hat gets made fun of in a court case. What I mean by that is there's an investigation going on and these two people are being questioned and their text messages are being looked at and read out to everyone in the courtroom. And at first it's about whatever crime they committed, but then it just devolves into them making fun of Tim Robinson's hat.
Vincent, I'm on it. Bree, be discreet. Vincent, of course. Bree, oh my God, did you see Brian's hat? Vincent, oh fuck. Ha 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 ha.
What the hell?
Bree, it's a fedora with safari flaps in the back. Vincent, holy shit. He looks so fucking stupid.
No.
And then finally, Detective Crashmore, a bloody action movie starring Santa Claus.
Are you dumb? That's one of the nicest guns I've seen in a long time. Can't wait to shoot that fucker.
He said he'd kill us both.
He might kill you, but there's no fucking way he's ever killing me. Fucking asshole. He said that?
Ryan Tanner. That's Sergeant Wilkes.
I don't like the looks of this, Crashmore.
I don't care if I die at all. Everything has sucked lately.
The only segment that wasn't really as good as the others was the professor ordering the wrong food one, but it's whatever. In conclusion, this episode was hilarious, and I think that it deserves a 9.8 out of 10. Okay, now we're in the top 2 for the silver medal. This was an extremely hard decision to make. I think these episodes are basically tied, but I did have to choose a number 1 and a number 2, so here it goes.
Baby, 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 baby.
Whoa, baby, baby, baby.
Second place goes to Season 1's Episode 1, Has This Ever Happened to You? The episode starts with an awkward job interview, as in the interview went well and the guy's trying to leave, but he opens the door the wrong way and just ends up going with it.
See?
A very specific legal program. Things go off the rail at the Baby of the Year contest.
Let's hear once again from the baby's pediatrician.
Mr. Jarvis is one of the most aggressive babies I've ever met. He has a massive underbite and completely flat back of the head.
I hope you fucking die, Harley Jarvis!
and a gift receipt causes stress. Basically, every segment in an ad is great. It's all hilarious. I like how brutal these adults are to these literal infants, and this advertisement is a perfect intro to how crazy Tim Robinson could be, and how much energy he can put into this. The gift receipt segment is really well done, and it's extremely funny, and I think episode 1 does a great job at cementing itself as the intro to this what the fuck series. It's an awesome episode, and I think it should get a 9.9 out of 10. And we finally made it, the gold medal. In first place, we have season 2's episode 5, Didn't You Say There Was Gonna Be More Than 5 People at This Table? In this episode, there's a novice driver in the parking lot.
And go! What? Going around this asshole. Come, what the fuck? What is your problem, man? Do you know how to fucking drive? No.
Which is probably my favorite segment of this entire show. Denying the rules of credit card roulette, celebrity impersonators getting unruly, and finally date night at a Cosmos themed bar. The novice driver in the parking lot is great. It's so simple, but there's so much human suffering that it's hilarious. It also does a good job at showing you how mentally inept Tim Robinson's character is.
What? No, I don't know how to fucking drive. I don't know what any of this shit is, and I'm fucking scared. What are you talking about, you psycho? You don't know how to drive?
Not everybody knows how to do everything. Driving isn't the only thing.
Just move your car! Okay. I don't know how I can! Oh my god, just grab the steering wheel!
Fine!
Then there's a dinner party where the host recommends that they should play credit card roulette. Basically, this guy's chosen and reacts the same way as someone getting tagged in 3rd grade.
Ooh, Leslie!
I'm not paying it.
This guy hires celebrity impersonators for this girl's party, and the impersonators in question end up committing assault on pretty much everyone in the party.
To outdo myself from last.
And then finally these two people have a date night and get shit on by whatever this robot thing is. That segment's pretty good, but the other ones more than make up for it. So with that being said, I'll give this episode a 10 out of 10. Now, obviously, this isn't some Citizen Kane kind of stuff. No, it's not perfect, and nothing is. But for what the show's trying to do, it gets a 10 out of 10. It's funny, it's weird, and it does a great job at making no sense. And I guess you could have said that about any of these episodes. I wouldn't say there's necessarily a bad episode in this series. However, there are a couple episodes that are between bad and mediocre. Not bad as in this is awful and the worst episode I've ever seen, but more of bad as in boring. And yeah, that's it. I think if you're just wanting a show to sit back and relax to and just have a laugh, then I think you should definitely watch this show. It's weird, it's funny, and it doesn't require you to watch a whole recap video. But in all seriousness, I definitely think you should check out this show for yourself. One video isn't going to solidify this show's existence. You should check it out for yourself and see what there is. My opinion is probably different from your opinion. But one thing we definitely all have the same opinion on is I need to upload more. Holy shit.